the thing is like, if Dana's hungry, I have been hungry before on this pod, but I keep it together because I'm a professional. But when you're hungry,
when Dana's hungry, everything that happens, she acts like it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
Like if Dana's hungry and she can't find her shoes, she's like, I literally don't know where my shoes are. I can't see my shoes anywhere. It's like, yeah, it's
no, I don't have my shoes.
It's like if she's hungry and she doesn't know where her phone charger is, she's wait, guys, no, I literally don't know where my phone charger is.
It was right there.
It was here, and I'm not looking at my charger anymore.
Hello, and welcome back to Young Old, the best podcast of the podcast marketplace.
Two sisters talk about dumb shit. We hope you like it. 'Cause if not, then we'll kill ourselves and the blood will be on your hands. Young Old!
Where all the hosts
your
are
host.
well fed.
Yeah, where no one's hungry,
Where
no one's about to
hungry,
kill the other
no one's
two
gonna kill
hosts
the
of the
other
podcast.
Well, famously, the foot incident where Dana was upset and cried on the podcast because her foot was rejected was because she was hungry mostly. And I had a friend who was like, hey, so what was the behind the scenes with that? Like, what was actually the reason that Dana was so upset? Can you give me some inside information?
No, there was no
and
behind
I was
the
like,
scenes.
girl, we didn't cut anything. Like, you saw the whole interaction.
Yeah.
Like, you're just as confused as we were about the situation.
The meltdown was uncensored.
But just the fact that she
Yeah.
thought that there must have been something else going on for you to have that reaction.
No.
When in reality,
No.
that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
if you know me, I'm very sensitive. I'm a little dramatic. I run a little dramatic.
You run a
It's
little
like some people
dramatic.
run hot. You
Yeah,
run
I run
dramatic.
You run dramatic.
I saw a TikTok that says that dramatic daughters, they get it from their dads. My dad was extremely dramatic.
Yeah, he was drama.
He was so
He was
drama.
drama.
And that's where I get it from.
Yeah, T.
Like when I look at my temper and my theatrics, learned behavior.
Yeah.
Well, I'm cool as a cucumber.
Yeah. And I'm
So clearly it skips a generation.
and I'm never
What do you
dramatic.
mean a generation?
Well, you're in a different generation. You're a millennial now.
Gen Z.
So
It
no one
skips
skips a
generations.
generation means.
Well,
Yeah.
in this case, it does.
Yeah.
Right.
Eve's Gen Z. She's chill until you
I'm
take
chill.
away her iPad playing Family Guy, and
Okay.
then she'll kill you with her bare hands.
But that's so Gen Z of her.
That's
But that's
classic
why
Gen
I'm
Z.
chill. It's called learning to self-soothe.
Yeah.
Robert and I were both kids who were deprived of self-soothing technologies such as television.
Yeah, if you put
And
iPad in
screens.
front of baby, it happy.
Yeah.
Wait,
Bruh.
Robert, that actually, do you want to talk about the iPads and autism and your take on?
No.
Oh, no.
I thought that was good.
I
that was a good
don't-
take.
I don't
the tip
want to.
that iPads give you autism? Is that
No,
the
that's
take?
not the
Okay.
take.
All right. Fine. I guess I will.
You
This
can
is-
talk about it.
This is an
That's
what I
off-camera take.
inferred.
I
thought.
don't think it's an off-camera. I think it's
All right,
good for
well,
on
the take
camera.
was- I
What's
saw-
the point if I can't say what I want?
Well, someone online was basically like, you shouldn't let your kid just have an iPad all the time. And then someone quoted that or replied to that and said, my child is autistic. He needs his iPad all the time. And my take was just like, well, he doesn't necessarily need the iPad all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, why not a Rubik's Cube? Why not a stress ball? It's
Well,
like,
Robert pointed out
No,
that
he doesn't
autism
need
existed
the
before iPad.
No, I was going to
Yeah.
say that as well.
And they've somehow managed.
It's not like doctors are like, the cure to autism is iPad.
yeah. RFK Jr. was like, psych, they've actually cured autism. It's a Family Guy on iPad.
Family Guy.
It's Family Guy on iPad.
Right, that's not a cure.
Yeah.
It's just like now you don't have to deal with
You don't
Well,
have
it's
to
like
deal
the
with
iPad
it.
makes it easier for you to
For
deal with your
you,
autistic
right.
child.
It doesn't make your
But,
autistic
yeah.
child's life like
Better,
easier or
yeah.
condition easier necessarily.
Right.
And that's no shame or anything. I wasn't trying to like. I
No, but
Yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting take.
I feel like
it was a good
pretty.
insight.
It's a pretty cold take though to be like iPad shouldn't be 24/7. Like
Well, that's what I thought too.
for
But then it was
kids.
treated, of
not
course.
for adults. Obviously,
Yeah.
for adults it's fine.
Yeah, for Eve specifically.
But it was entered into a discourse topic because someone did the whole like, but what about me and my circumstance?
Right, and it's like no, you too though.
Yeah.
But
No,
also
but
you.
you.
They're
No,
like,
but
this,
you.
Clearly, no iPad for my child 24/7 can apply to
Yeah.
me because my child
Yeah.
hard for me to talk to.
iPad is for adults like myself.
Yeah, and it's for you doing adult things like watching Family
An adult
Guy.
show.
Also, you're
so
saying
there.
that you say that's self-soothe. Is that self-soothe? I mean, that's if anything, that's that's
It's
Seth-soothe.
Seth-soothe.
It's Seth-soothe.
Yeah,
It's
you're getting
Seth-soothe.
Seth-soothed.
I'm like, I Seth-soothe. They're like, you mean self-soothe? I'm like, no. Seth-soothe.
And then we rush in like, oh God, she's angry. We quickly play American Dad on an iPad for her.
I'll start watching it, but I really haven't watched American Dad very much, to be honest.
I mean,
which
I
is
haven't
weird because it's
seen
like I've
either.
seen Family Guy like 8 million times.
Yeah.
People on the internet
But-
always tell me that I remind them of Roger from American
Oh,
Dad.
I definitely see that.
I see that. I know enough to know
For
that.
sure. I know enough to know that that's to
Well,
you.
anytime there's like a short, idiosyncratic, kind of weird character, it's you. I mean, you're George Costanza,
You're
famously.
Ted.
Well, it is like being short gives
the
you
bear.
a specific energy. Like
Yeah.
every short person has something in common.
Well, Dana's sometimes like, what if I was tall? It's like, well, then everything would be different.
Right.
Then
Danny
nothing would be
DeVito.
the same.
Danny DeVito.
What
I
if
have a
Danny
very
DeVito was
DeVito
6'4"?
energy.
He
Well, then
wouldn't be
he's not
Danny
Danny DeVito
DeVito.
anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I real quick.
Also, it's like you would never develop that personality.
Well, I also say it's like
at
it would be
6'4".
literally impossible for me to be this angry because I would be in jail.
right,
Yeah.
right.
it would be
If
impossible
I
for
could
you
be
to be
a
like,
woman with this temper,
yeah, you couldn't be like, where's my charger? I don't see my charger.
Right.
like people would be so scared of me if I was big.
Yeah, I'd be like, ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am.
People already are like, ma'am. I mean,
People are like, ma'am,
I
ma'am.
did.
Yeah.
The last time I went to the airport, I got into a fight with the TSA agent. I don't think I've talked about
I
this.
think
on
we
here.
did talk
We
about
did,
this.
but
We
you
talked
didn't
about
give
that.
them. I mean, this pod we're constantly repeating the same
Yeah.
topics regardless. So
Yeah.
Did I talk
just
about
go
this?
ahead and tell them.
We've talked about
Okay,
this.
never
Just
mind.
go
then.
ahead and
well, I
say
guess I
it.
talked about
And
it.
if not,
so
comment and say,
comment
you guys know,
and
we've
say,
heard nothing
we
about
didn't
Dana.
hear about Dana
I mean,
fighting with the TSA agent.
I know for a fact that we talked about the secondhand smoothie story, but then when you brought it up again and I said we've already talked about this, someone commented I'm on the edge of my seat about the second.
And we
about
did
the
talk about
secondhand
we hadn't
smoothie
talked
story.
about the secondhand
No, we
smoothie story.
have.
No, we have.
have?
I
Okay.
think we did. I think we did.
Go back and listen to all the episodes until you find it.
God.
Real quick, I'm just picturing, you know how like whenever like Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk, sometimes to soothe him, they'll like trap him in a room and then like put like gas into the room to like
Oh, I
gas him
thought
and
you were
calm
gonna
him
say
down.
like ScarJo does the Jurassic Park thing.
Well, that works too. But real quick for the
When she
gas
puts her hand
with
out.
Eve, it's like if Eve turned into the Hulk, we'd lock her into a room and then just play like Family Guy
Yeah,
audio
and it
and that
would
would calm
soothe
her
me.
down. Yeah, there's also I forgot about the ScarJo.
yeah, she always is like,
She
what's his
said,
name? Bruce.
"Hey, big guy,
Bruce,
the sun's
Bruce,
getting
yeah.
real low."
Oh yeah, hey big. Oh my god, that makes me like
Dude,
want to
hey,
die.
big
when I
guy.
think about that.
with Eve, it'd be like, Peter, you're being wacky.
And then I would,
being
and
That's
then I
my-
would
I haven't
slowly
seen
calm
Family
down.
Guy in a
Well, it's also-
while.
No, that's pretty accurate.
It is Joey King and Noah.
Noah. Me.
It's
Noah,
me.
it's me. Look
Elle,
at me.
Look at
This
me.
isn't you.
Nose.
Eve's turning into the Hulk,
isn't
and we're like,
you.
giggity.
What can I say? It's my comfort show.
Guess what else is her comfort show? Every show she's ever watched.
Okay,
Yeah.
well.
I also, well, to be clear,
Seth Soothe, McGee Soothe.
G, Lucifer Sue.
Lucifer Soothe. You're getting
Wow.
sued by Satan.
Okay.
Satan. Okay.
Sorry, I
Remember
shouldn't
when
have.
you were obsessed with telling us that we were going to burn in hell?
I wasn't obsessed with
We
telling
missed
you
that
to burn it
era.
out.
She went through a
Oh
real
my God.
era.
Well,
She went through
okay.
a real era where she would tell Eve and I that we were going to hell
And I
constantly.
eventually cracked and I was like, you gotta cut this off. You gotta quit it.
To be fair, we both resisted for months, but I remember when Eve hit
Eventually
a
I
breaking
snapped.
point.
Eventually I snapped and I was like, you've got to knock this shit off.
And I realized all I can do is pray for the ones that I
Oh,
love.
right.
Yeah. Well, because if
You
someone,
know what? I'm fine with it being up here. It's just, it was a lot out here.
if someone tells you you're going to hell once, you're like,
didn't tell
whatever.
anyone they were
If
going to
someone
hell.
says
It
you're
was
going to
heavily
hell.
implied. It was heavily implied.
I think you just said it. You would be like, you're going to hell. And again, one time, sure. You said it 100 times. And at a certain point, Eve was like, you can't say that.
I don't know your destination. I am not God.
Okay, but you also are gaslighting us by saying you didn't say that we
You
were
said
going
that
to hell.
overtly.
Like, that is your gaslighting.
And you'll say things like, if the rapture came, you'd put in a good word for us.
Yeah,
and
or
I'm
you'd
sorry.
be like, it's just a shame I won't see you guys when I... Like, you'd say things like that where it's like, okay, maybe you're not saying you are going to hell.
But you're saying that I, Dana, am going to heaven.
But just being
Shame
like,
I
or
won't
just
see
like,
you guys there.
Aren't you worried about your eternal soul?
I would never say
Yeah,
I never
you
have.
You have
You
said
have
that.
said that.
You have said that.
You have said
You've said that
that.
100%. Also, I would always get mad because I'm like, dude, I was not dragged to Catholic church every week as a youth for years. For you to then like come into the game and act like you outrank me in
Yeah,
the eyes
on
of the
God.
Lord.
On
Robert
God,
thinks
bruh.
that there's like Jesus points and hours and he's done more. And I'm like, that's not how it
I'm
works.
saying that in the.
But
oh,
if it did, that's how it worked. He's
you
kind of
better
got you
hope
there,
it's not
bro.
how it works because I'd have a commanding lead.
I think that it's all going to be okay. But I don't know anything.
Well, but also
No,
you,
and I judge not lest I be judged.
You took the criticism.
Yeah.
Like you were like,
Yeah.
okay, I see.
Yeah.
I will change. And you did. And you haven't said you're going to hell since then. But it is gaslighting to be like, you didn't have a you're going to hell face.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't. I genuinely don't remember that's.
Eve didn't
You
freak out
wipe
and
your
say,
memory of like every month you wipe your memory.
it's a new wipe. It's a new model.
It actually is. That's actually really true about me because I have to wipe my memory in order to move on.
Yeah.
Because I'm always making really big choices. Like, that's the thing about me. It's like when you're making choices this big, if you like every single day, sometimes you just have to create distance between yourself and those choices, or like you can't move on.
Well, it's like, remember one day you said, I'm the type of girl who's going to have fake freckles all over my face.
Bro.
Wait, you guys haven't even heard about Amy Halls. They know about Dr. P, but they don't even know about
did
Amy
Halls
Halls.
even actually get
never
created?
posted.
She never posted.
No, she was.
did
She posted. She posted 2 videos. Amy Halls had 2 videos.
Well, Dana had another persona when she wanted to try out like a little character online, and it was someone who does hauls, but it couldn't be Dana, so she
it's
put
Amy
on
Halls.
a bunch of fake freckles, which, by the way, killed the aura of fake freckles forever. Now, whenever I see a celebrity with freckles, I'm
You're
like,
like
it's
Amy
giving
Halls.
Amy
Well,
Halls.
Sydney Sweeney's in a new period piece, and she's giving Amy Halls in it. She
Really?
has some fake freckles in it that are very reminiscent of Amy
I mean,
Halls.
but there was a girl, Kayla Malik, who literally blew up for having horrible fake freckles.
She also has a lot of drama in her life, though. I
That's
think
tea,
it was
that's
the
tea.
freckles in
But the
combination with the drama.
But the freckles was definitely part of it.
Well, that was the problem with
Yeah.
Amy Halls. Why Amy Halls didn't take off. It was all freckles, no drama.
Yeah.
You need to mix some drama in
Yeah,
there.
and
Mix
people
some
were like,
drama in
"Who's
there.
this boring ass chick with the freckles calling herself Amy?"
On God, on God.
And it was Amy Halls, and she never popped up.
So real.
And then there was Little Looks.
Right. Oh, Little Looks was more
I thought Little Looks
established,
funny.
though.
Yeah, Little Looks was.
That was
Amy
just Dana
Halls
would
was a
do like
blip.
these little dances to viral sounds.
and
then,
I
of
had
course,
really
Dr.
short
P.
blonde hair. It was
Yeah.
in my Boy Prince era.
And then after all those personas, Dana said, fine, fuck it. I'll just be myself. And then she immediately went viral and started
Yeah.
blowing up again.
It's definitely easier to be yourself. That's what I'll say about the internet.
Yeah.
Is being, or at least a version of yourself.
Right.
We can never really fully be ourselves on the internet.
yeah.
Obviously.
But also with you, like wiping your memory, you're always like, my personal style is really developing. Cut to like a few years ago, same
It's the
outfits.
same.
Cut to childhood, same outfits. Like,
Same outfits.
Yeah, I've actually been dressing the same since I was 3, as
Yeah.
Robert pointed out. Maybe even earlier.
And then every week she's like, I feel like I'm in a risk. My style evolution is crazy.
and it's like, babe, it hasn't changed.
I feel like I look nothing like I looked a year ago.
yeah. Well,
Well, this is something Dana one time she said to me. She said this about me. She said, Robert, your style evolution is amazing. You've really changed your style a lot. And then I replied to that, yeah, I know. I dress totally different now. And then Dana went, I dress different too. It's like
you
Dana
brought it up.
to say
also,
it to me.
It is true for Robert that his style has evolved.
Yeah,
but
I used
for
to-
you just,
I used to dress like total shit, and now I dress slightly better.
I do think since I got my laundry under control, my outfits
Okay.
are better.
Well, because you have more to choose
You
from.
have more
Yeah.
to choose from. But your outfits, you have a better selection, but they still fall within the same parameters of a Dana outfit and look that you've been your whole life.
Yeah.
I would say the only active evolution that I could point to is I have matching socks now because of said.
And you know
laundry
what? That's a
improvements.
slay.
I mean,
that
it is a slay. I don't know if it's a style so much as a functional
But I
slay.
think that my socks have really improved my outfits overall. They've definitely helped me level up.
All right, all right.
Again, I don't know if you leveled up. You're on the same level. Again, you're on a high level. You have a great style. Famously, you have accused me of jacking your swag
And
recently.
you have jacked my swag. Robert wore sunglasses on stage last night to do stand up.
On his head or
On
on
my
his
head,
face?
on my head. I'm not
oh,
that
on his
far
head
gone.
is wow. That's really jacking you.
It's swag jack.
I literally, look, I admit it. I've kind of a...
It's major swag jack.
Well, look, Dana's obviously been great for my style, but the sunglasses on head is a style jack. It's a style jack for
Yeah.
sure. I love that touch. But to me, it's more so like I'm giving more of like, or at least the style, my new summer look is like, it's button down short sleeve shirt over an undershirt. So to me,
Right.
I'm like, it's Saxon White Lotus.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I was
Brad
gonna say
Pitt
it's
once
White
upon a time in
Lotus.
Hollywood.
Wait, did you guys see that paparazzi picture of Patrick Schwarzenegger wearing like a giant jersey? He dresses nothing like Saxon from White Lotus. Did you guys know that?
I don't know anything about
He
the
like
guy.
almost has like a hype beast style.
well,
which
why would he
surprised
dress
me.
exactly like?
Well, not
Saxon
exactly
from
like, but
White
I assumed he was like fratty preppy. Like
But
I
he's
did,
not. He's like
not.
Billie Eilish
He-
coded.
Yeah, he's Billie Eilish coded.
Well,
like
'cause
he
he's an
wears
LA
like
rich kid. At his core, he's an
oversized
LA
hype
rich
beast
kid.
swag.
You know,
Yeah.
I like that for him.
Him and Billy
yeah,
are the
it's-
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's funny is I
That's real.
haven't seen this picture, but I'm just picturing him dressed like Billie Eilish circa her first album, and I'm like, that is very funny.
That was the outfit.
big sweatpants.
100%. Yeah, I think he was wearing like oversized pants and a big jersey.
It's funny because I saw a picture, a video of him at Coachella cheering on the girl from Blackpink who was in in White Lotus with
Lisa.
him.
They
Lisa.
all went. The whole
Yeah.
White Lotus crew.
Isn't that funny?
That's
it's just
cute.
like imagine like your old coworkers showing up at your new job.
Oh my god!
You'd be
I
like,
was
wow.
thinking about it.
Office job people coming to your
Well,
show
also
or
coming
something.
specifically because your publicists are all like, this will go super viral.
And they're right though.
I mean, it did go
It did
viral.
go
right.
viral. But I was thinking about that where I'm like, that's such a clearly publicist orchestrated moment. I'm sure
Right.
they're all friends. Like, I'm
they
sure
had a
they,
great time.
like,
got
I'm sure they had a
along.
great time. It looked super
Yeah.
fun. But I'm like, to act like that wasn't to orchestrate a viral moment is
Right, like the
BS.
cast themselves were like,
Right.
hey, let's all
Let's
go to
all
Lisa's
go.
show.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, it was
Right.
definitely some satanic PR people.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's
Sorry.
satanic. This is what we mean. I love how
kidding.
5
Cut
minutes
to
ago,
her saying, I would never say anyone's
I would never
going
say
to
anyone was going to hell. I
hell.
would never call anyone demonic.
Satanic
There's some
Satanic
Hollywood
PR
publicists
people.
that I feel pretty comfortable saying, oh,
Right.
I know
Yeah,
where
but
you're going.
To be fair, I'd love to
ma'am.
meet someone you
Just
didn't
kidding. I'm
feel comfortable
kidding.
saying they'd go to hell.
I
I'd love to meet the
don't-
person you
I don't
wouldn't feel comfortable saying
I
that.
am not the judge or the jury.
You have judged us so
I have
often,
not.
Bro.
and you've been juried.
I have, but I've
Again,
rescinded my
You
judgment.
can say that you've
I've
changed,
rescinded
but
my
you are
judgments.
gaslighting.
I've
You're
rescinded my
gaslighting.
judgments.
I was catching demon allegations right and left.
I am on a journey, and I am early on
The
in the
thing is,
journey.
if you break Eve, something's gone wrong. If you break Eve, something's gone wrong. If
if she can't Seth soothe
if
me
she
away,
can't
Yeah.
soothe it,
Yeah.
then it's like, man,
I've
you
gone too
stepped
far. I agree, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I rescind any judgment that has been perceived.
Speaking of the base, like the people, the cast showing up, and it's basically just like your coworkers. I remember when we watched the Friends reunion special,
Oh my
which is
God.
very dystopian and odd.
Yeah.
But it opens with all the like old Friends actors, and they're walking through the set of Monica's apartment, and they're just like, oh wow, and it's like I'm picturing myself going back to like the first cubicle I worked in out of college, like,
Oh,
it's the same.
It's me every time I go to a Gap store. If you
You're
don't
like-
know, Gap was my
Baby
first
Gap
job.
was her, yeah.
Well,
were Baby
for
Gap.
Gap Kids was my first job, and
Oh.
then Gap Regular was my second job. Sounds like a promotion. It's not. Okay.
she wouldn't stop trying on the clothes
Yeah.
at Kid Gap Kid.
And I was
She
like,
always
what's the
thought they would
problem?
fit.
It's not like I'm stretching them out.
They said this is the 5th shirt we've had to cut you out of today.
Yeah.
So, you know, TLDR, not a promotion. They still owe me money.
Oh,
Well-
wait!
Well,
You
'cause
can,
I have a
isn't there
habit
like
of
an
not collecting
There's like a
checks.
website that's like your unclaimed money.
I probably have a lot of money on
You
that
should
site. I
look
should
that
look
up.
into
Well,
that.
because Dana, the thing is, when Dana does jobs, it's kind of for the side quest of it all. And she'll
Right.
often, when she decides she wants to leave, of course, Dana, she needs to leave right now. She'll just leave without collecting her money.
I mean, you're very Trish from Austin and Ally coded. Do you guys?
Is that Rainy?
Yes, that's Rainy.
I love
Rodriguez.
Rainy,
And her
first
thing
of
is that she
all.
always has a new job every episode,
Yeah.
and then she she purposely gets fired every episode.
That's really funny.
Like it's like there's one episode where they're like, "Why don't you just quit?" And she's like, "No, that's not how I do things."
That's not how she does it. That's classic Dana. I mean, also, it's famously very George Costanza.
Yes.
You're always getting mixed up and stuff.
Another short
Yeah.
zany.
Short and zany. And Rainy is short and zany.
Yeah, all of these people are short
Yeah.
and zany.
Famously, my first job was I was a caddy at a country club.
Yeah. All cash.
All cash. One of the like you literally would just roll out of bed at like 5 a.m. Just
Yeah.
get paid so much cash.
Flirt with older ladies.
Dude, the older ladies loved me so much because on the weekends you have to be with the men, and it was just like, oh god, they were so annoying. But then during the week, the men would be at work, and the ladies would show up, their wives would show up, and they were delighted by me.
Wow,
Almost as much as they were delighted by Tiger Woods.
I was just gonna bring that up.
Oh right! Oh my god! Well, we were saying because I saw a clip of Tiger Woods. It's kind of cool as hell because he was talking about how when he first started golfing, these country clubs were racist, and they literally wouldn't let him like get dressed in the locker room or in the
Horrible.
clubhouse. So he would have to get dressed like in the parking lot. And then he said it was a cold line. He was like, and so I said, fine. Where's the first tee and what's the course record? And we were talking about how like all the old ladies at the country club were probably perving out over like watching him getting changed in the parking
getting
lot.
dressed in the parking lot, you say? Ladies, I know what we're spending the morning.
Ladies, put your binoculars.
Ladies,
We
and
have-
then all their husbands are like, "Where's Norma?" And then cut to Norma.
They're all
spying
grouped
on.
up against the
Yeah.
window.
The
watching
glass is
it.
all foggy and hot from
Yeah.
they're panting.
And they're
They're like,
watching Tiger in the parking lot.
Well, that is a 3-wood.
and there's a lot of golf puns you could
Yeah.
work into it.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a driver. Meanwhile, my Rufus only has a putter. If you know what I mean,
Dude, Rufus has a putter and Tiger has a driver. If you know what we mean. Norma
Yeah.
does.
He can have my hole in one.
Ah! And then their husbands are fuming.
And then their husbands are
and they're
fuming.
like, he better not break the course record.
And then he breaks the
And then he
course
breaks the course record.
And he F's their wives.
And then he F's
he
their
might.
wives.
I mean, famously, that was his.
Famously, he
right.
F'd like
Remember
50
when they
wives.
leaked their like sexts and then they were like really boring or something?
Yeah.
Remember
Well,
when I think it was his wife found out he was cheating and then chased his car out, and didn't she like hit his car with a golf club?
Yes.
Turned his weapon. He's turned his own weapon against
Yeah,
him.
Gotti.
Kind of poetic.
Well, people always say like
Literary.
People were shattered. People were like, you would think Tiger had killed a lady at the time.
It's
That was
giving
a
the
very
Try
different
Guys.
era. Yeah.
Well, no, the Try, they were mad about that, so.
That's true. I guess cheating on your wife just like isn't the vibe.
Well, especially when people are like, oh, we were rooting for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, and because also it's golf fame, I think it's a very kind of like, again, very old world, quote unquote, dignified, wink, wink, kind of racist kind of type of fame. It's like they're very kind of old school about that.
okay.
Because they freaked out about Tiger cheating on his wife. They probably would have also freaked out if like Tiger wore like, you know, gym shorts to the course. You know what I mean? It's very like a type of fame. Like no one cares when a basketball player cheats on his wife.
Right,
Well,
that's
because
old
it's
news.
expected of basketball players or like a
Yeah.
rapper.
Right.
It's like it is. Yeah. I
Which
guess
again
it's
plays
like,
into kind of
it's
some of the racist
reality,
expectations that a lot of the media members have too.
It's just interesting though, because I'm like people were really mad at Bill Clinton. You know.
But it's so interesting because it's like, were they that mad about Bill Clinton? You know what I mean? It's like
didn't he like get impeached?
he got impeached. Well, I mean, like, but I think like the Republicans were mad at Bill Clinton anyway.
Right.
All things considered, they were kind of chill about it. I don't know. What do I know? I was 3. I don't care.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I just don't. That's before me.
To me, I'm
You
like,
at 3
I don't care.
shaking
Well,
your
Gary
fist at the
Vee-
TV.
I'm like, you made a vow, Mr. President.
What about Hillary?
What about
Well, it's kind of like when people
Hillary?
talk about like Watergate, where I'm like, I just don't care. That's just not important to me. Like when people talk about like political scandals from like before
What
I
do
was
we care
born,
about? Neighborgate.
we
So
care about our own
Millgate.
beefs
We have our
going
own
Guys,
on.
this is how we get canceled and called out of touch. And then
What?
it juxtaposes like clips of us talking about it and then clips of like Watergate. And then they're like, this just goes how to show how out of touch they are.
Would people? I would love to see like the online
Make an edit
mob.
of us talking about it and
Please,
then
please.
Watergate. And clip-
Cancel us with our apathy for Watergate.
Yeah.
I'm just like I swear I say it seems like every single year there's a new like weird documentary about like people talking about Watergate and like here's the real story of how it went down. I'm like, I don't care.
You want to talk about how young old repeats topics? I'm like, look at mainstream media.
my
Like
God.
they literally I talk about this all the time, but like they're constantly remaking the same movies about war or corruption in the Catholic Church or
Yeah.
like it's all they're repeating themselves constantly.
Well, you
What?
got that World War II joke. It's
Right.
like, why should we
Yeah.
stop talking about the same topic?
When
Hollywood,
is still making
yeah.
movies about World War II, a war that happened like 20 years ago.
so real.
Classic. Dude, cue the comments that are like, it
I did
actually
not.
happened longer than 20 years ago. You're uninformed.
My niece needs her iPad.
Yeah.
My niece needs her iPad.
Can I have my coffee?
Sure. Well, I feel that about World War II, dude. War movies in general, I'm like, for the most part, I'm kind of like, I get it. I've seen so many war movies where it's like, they're like, did you know that war is hell? I'm like, yeah. That's why I don't really
get
need to see another
it.
movie about it. I get it.
Also, my whole thing is like, I'm like, I've never been pro any war.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to. I've said this too, but I'm like, the reason why I don't follow the news is because, not to be all whatever, but the same people writing about the bombs being dropped are connected to being paid by the people who are dropping them. Okay.
Well, there is
All
that.
right.
When there's like a movie about like war is hell, or like the opening of Save It Private Ryan, where it's like, isn't this is terrible? Look at it. It's like you're making it sound like I did this.
Right.
Like I sent them overseas. I'm like, I don't think they should. Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, bring the boys back home.
Bring
I
the boys
say.
back and the girls.
Okay.
Okay.
The girls were at home sewing flags.
Okay, anyways. I always say that I'm the out of touch white couple from White Lotus season 2. That's like, oh, we don't really watch the news.
Yeah.
And then Aubrey Plaza's like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't watch the news? And they're like, oh, it's kind of depressing. We just
And
don't
it is
really-"
depressing.
And like, obviously, well, I mean, they're both supposed to be crazy. Like,
Yeah.
both but like, I'm like, I relate to them. That's
Yeah.
me.
Well, also like I know.
Cancel me if you want.
Well, to me, reality is what we focus on.
Also, it's like, if it's that important, I'll hear about it on Reddit, period.
if it's that important, I'll know.
You will read about
I'll
it in
hear
the Soul
about
Cycle
it.
Reddit. And when it makes it the Soul Cycle Reddit,
That's
we'll
when
know
Eve-
it's real.
And
It's
speaking of
worthy of
White
Eve's
Lotus
attention.
and Soul Cycle, guess who I saw? The blonde bob lady from White Lotus season 3.
Leslie Bibb?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I told Chubs this morning.
Oh my
know.
God. No
Robert's
one told me.
Famously his crush from
Well,
Talladega
That was Robert's
Nights.
sexual awakening.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say sexual awakening. I would say, but I had a huge crush on her because she's Ricky Bobby's wife in Talladega Nights. Leslie
Whacking
Bibb.
it.
But yeah, she
No one said anything about whacking.
She
it.
opened the door for me at SoulCycle, and then she said something to me, but I couldn't focus on what she was saying because I was like, wait, why do I know you? And at first I was like, oh, maybe she's a SoulCycle regular who I see all the time, and that's why I recognize her. But then I was like, wait, no, she's White Lotus,
Oh
bruh.
my God.
Yeah, and all this is going through Eve's head instead of just
Yeah.
responding to Leslie Bibb in real
I
time.
don't know. She
That's such
said
a good
something
sign. And,
like
she's married to the guy who did the Asian woman monologue in real life.
Asian woman.
The guy who's
In
like,
White
I
Lotus
wanted to
season
be.
3. The guy who's like, I wanted to be the Asian
that's
woman.
okay. Cool.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah,
They're married.
No, I mean she was definitely very like I would expect her to be tall from the show.
Yeah.
but she definitely was tall. And then she said something to me about the door, but I couldn't. I don't know. It was something like, oh,
I'm
I
sorry,
didn't.
Dana just spilled coffee
all
right on
over
her
me.
side.
Oh, bruh.
It's all right though. I'm wearing tie-dye. Can't
But she
even
had
tell.
she had a very friendly energy about her.
Yeah,
I believe that.
I mean, that rips.
She seems really kindly.
Yeah, she did. She vibed.
I mean,
over
White
it.
Lotus
had nothing
season
but nice
3
things to say.
again. Talladega Nights.
Wait, was she
so
at
funny.
Coachella? Did she go to Coachella?
I should have asked her.
You should. She starts to turn away. You grab her.
Did you go to
You're
Coachella?
like, wait.
Were you part of the cheering Lisa on?
You should have been like,
Yeah.
Leslie,
PR
is your
stunt.
publicist in league with the devil? Leslie?
She's like, I can't confirm or deny.
Yeah.
But somebody just as famous and cool as her that I saw near SoulCycle, the blonde girl from Manifest,
And Robert and I both have
We
no
had
idea
no
who that
reaction to
is,
that.
But then
an
we
even
said,
bigger star.
then we said the girl from Manifest looks like if Robert was a woman.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
which
like
is
I
so real.
transitioned.
Yeah.
Go look up the blonde girl from
praise,
Manifest.
if I say so myself.
Yeah. Me
Yeah.
and Robert
Yeah,
thought
she's
she was
very
hot
pretty.
as frick.
Yeah, Eve could see Tom Cruise and not care, but she'd be like, I saw the 4th lead from Lucifer season 3.
No, but she is like one of the leads in Manifest.
I mean, we believe you. I haven't
we
seen the show.
believe you, but
we
we don't
didn't go
care.
down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, SoulCycle's full of celeb sightings.
I don't think I always joke that I saw Dick Cheney at SoulCycle and he told me that he was bisexual, and I said that doesn't excuse the war crime.
Okay, but this isn't a real sighting. That's a joke you made up.
I made up.
I will say one time
Dick
Dana and
Cheney
I
wasn't there.
Dana and I were arguing in Los Feliz, and we were arguing. It was something about like a bath mat.
yeah.
I was supposed to buy a bath mat, and I didn't. And we were kind of like bickering, and then we looked to our left, kind of at the same time, and Louis C.K. was standing there.
And we did
and
forget
we
about our
instantly
argument.
just like stopped what our argument was,
Yeah.
and it resolved the dispute instantly. Because then
did.
instead of being
You're like, there are more important things going on.
Instead of being like, why didn't you buy the bath mat? We're like, was that Louis C.K.?
It gave
in
you
my
guys
book,
perspective.
That really, Louis C.K., you're vindicated. You stopped.
That was all it took?
And the guy from The Office.
Oh,
gave
and
you
then-
guys
yeah,
a
wait, that's a more
judgmental look.
recent.
Most recently, and
A celebrity
yeah.
sighting in the Starbucks parking lot. We saw Oscar from The Office.
And Dana had just taken a selfie of Dana and myself, and I commented that when Dana takes selfies, I literally think she always makes the other person look worse than her. She makes herself
When
look
I'm
great.
taking my
and
morning
my
selfies,
face is
it's not
always
about
blurry.
looking good. They're just for my little memories.
First off, when I'm taking my morning selfies, when I'm taking my morning selfies.
When she's taking her morning selfie.
But anyway, I just made that comment, and Dana was getting annoyed, denying that she had taken her morning selfies. Also was maybe hungry, so she was agitated. And Dana went, and I was like, "You always make me look worse." And Dana went, "Don't make you look worse," like that. And then Oscar from The Office looked up, like, Jesus.
yeah, it was
what's
like we were
going on
in
over
an
there?
episode of The Office.
It was very like, yeah, it was very much. We panned
mean,
to Oscar's reaction shot.
And we were giving Michael and Jan in that moment, I would say.
Michael and Jan, iconic, hilarious couple.
Iconic, hilarious couple.
I mean, that is what our energy is.
Yeah, we're Michael
But we're
and Jan.
both Michael, and we're both Jan.
Yeah, we're both. Yeah.
Maybe we're not anything
Maybe
like
we're not
Michael and
like
Jan.
them.
Maybe we just
I
think
don't
they're
know.
funny.
We like them though.
Yeah.
We're fans.
My
Maybe
friend-
we're Angela and Dwight. No, we're not.
My friend also said, why do Robert and Dana always post a selfie of them in the car? And I said, I don't know. And she
Okay.
was like, but it's all the time.
I like how it is funny. We're not privy to these conversations. I love that it's like behind closed doors. Eve's friends are like, what are Robert and Dana? What are they doing?
Well, to me, I'm like,
Well, no,
why?
it wasn't-
Because
it
the
was
lighting
just
in
like-
the car is
she
good.
was
If
just
that's
like,
the real truth.
Okay, so now then there's her
Yeah.
answer.
Well, the real thing is like Dana and I are in the car all the
all
time.
the
We
time.
love to drive
We love
around.
to
so
be in the
that's why.
car. The lighting is good in the car because you're getting like that direct
So that's why.
sunlight from the windshield.
We're not like doing photo shoots. It's just like while we're driving,
No.
Dana will be taking her morning selfies,
I
her
mean, look,
afternoon
I don't
selfies.
care. I'm not consuming your content. content. So
Thank you, Eve.
Whoa. What?
I'm not consuming. No, I don't go on Instagram. That's for losers.
She's watching Family Guy on her iPad.
Yeah.
She's looking at Stewie and Brian's Instagram.
Yeah. Thank you very
know what?
much.
I will say that's actually more than fair because Eve will do like the fair thing where maybe once every 10 days.
Yeah, she'll go
open
and like
Instagram
all the content I
and she'll
posted.
like everything.
Yeah.
And I know she's not consuming it, but she'll do you the solid, and that's
Well,
that's
if
all
it
you can
comes up in
demand.
my feed, I'll like it.
Well, I'll get a
for
notifi-
the like one day a month that I go on.
So it's like one day a month, Eve will go through and she'll like a few things that just come up in her feed, and I'm like, that's pure respect. It is always funny because like Dana and I always talk about this because if you post a lot on Instagram, the people you know in real life, they're not your audience, but also they're really not your audience. They will not like anything. So I'll have a reel get like 100,000 likes. The only 3 likes that I know are Dana, Eve, and then Dana's cousin.
And she stays liking
And
our
she
cousin.
stays liking.
And she's a real fan because she will
Yeah,
consume.
she a real one.
Shouts out Jenny.
Shout out Jenny.
But okay.
We see you and
You
we
stay
appreciate
liking.
you.
I also think there's something really true about like with me and Robert. It's like obviously, sorry, yes, we're trying to be famous on Instagram. Like we actively are trying to be famous on Instagram, and people who aren't trying to be famous on Instagram
They're like,
don't
"That's so
understand
cringe."
what goes into it. Like no, but they like it's like you don't understand that in order to be famous on Instagram, it's
To
like I
post
have
every
to
day,
post
right.
regularly. So yeah, sometimes I'm just gonna post me and Robert in the car, and you know what? Those stories do well for me.
Well, no, I
if
don't
you
think
must
she
know.
was, like, she didn't
no, I know,
say it
I know.
angrily.
No, I know. I'm just like I'm
It was just
explaining like
why?
I'm explaining there's a certain content demand,
Yeah.
and so that's why.
And we don't care if it pisses off Eve's friends. We don't care if it makes
We
Eve's
don't
friends think
give
we're
a
lame as fuck. You know what's funny? We do care.
No, yeah, I'm really embarrassed. I
I'm
feel
like, we gotta figure out this car
something
so
else.
No,
else.
I don't think it's a big deal.
No, we know it's not.
We know it's not. No, we know it's
But
not a
it's
big
also like
deal.
Robert's my only friend, you know? Like
yeah.
I
And
don't
Dana's
know.
like one of my like
Okay,
13
then who's
friends.
Etane then?
We can't.
How could you say that in front of Maurizio?
I refuse. We can't let the people at home know just how far gone you are in terms of naming all your
What do you
stuffed
mean?
animals.
How far gone I am? They're in your bed too.
Yeah. Oh, I
They
know.
live with us.
Also, Etane is famously your bestie.
yeah,
I-
famous.
when it's time to go to sleep, I'll be like, Dana, I'll point to a stuffed animal and be like, can you move that off the bed? And she'll be like, that? Don't you mean him? And I just go, oh God. And I light a cigarette. Once again, we've arrived at the point of the pod where I think we're all having fun. And then I run up. And then they look at me like they've never met me before. And they're just like,
Well, anyways, I have an idea for your wedding.
Okay.
Okay, so you know those videos where the groom like aggressively shoves the bride's face into cake?
yes.
Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
know exactly what you're talking
And
about.
people like get so up in arms. They're always like, he's an abuse. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
look, some of them are pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, some of them are too. Well, it's classic internet where like I agree, like the groom shoving the wife's face is like a little too rough, but then the
Yeah.
comments are like
He needs to go
should
to
be
jail.
locked in a
Yeah.
federal fucking
So
prison.
you want us to do a viral cake
No,
shoving
but
video?
you guys need to flip the script.
You do it to
So
me.
you.
Oh, I love
Obviously.
because
that.
normally.
Oh, I'm gonna freaking get you in there.
Well, also you could do like a prank one, so you don't actually have to like fuck him up on your wedding day.
No,
Oh
let's do it on the wedding day.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. This is
Yeah.
wait,
Because
let's
I
get-
do think it would go
Are
really
you getting
viral.
attained?
Like,
yeah, I think it would go really viral.
Well,
if I
but
did
also-
that.
because we
That's so
never
real.
see it with the
the
bride
gender
doing it to
flip.
the groom.
No, I'm so
but,
down.
But I have a new part of the bit, which will be
Okay.
after she does this. The video will keep rolling, and then this will
Okay.
be my real reaction in front of all of our guests. So
Yeah.
pretend this is the cake.
Okay.
Or like, I think we're just gonna go. Hey! What was that? Hey, no, this isn't Eve. This isn't fun.
No.
This isn't funny. What was that?
But then the comments would be like, "Wow, she was just playing around.
Yeah.
He completely
The comments would
overreacted.
so be on my side.
Yeah.
Wow,
I love
he
that.
really
This seems
yelled
like
at
it's
her
gonna do really
just
well
for
for
playing
me.
around with the cake."
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Got him.
If we
But
want
it's just crazy because it's usually the groom is always like absolutely slam
Dude,
dunking the bride
absolutely.
into the
Yeah.
cake.
Well,
But
yeah.
but then we would say, you know,
I'm so excited for this piece of viral content.
we would say feminism and
You slam
bride
my face.
dunks groom into cake.
What if we also do
Like,
another angle where it's like you don't stop with one, you slam me one, and
Yeah.
then like
we have
like,
another cake.
I have another
We have,
cake
like a
ready to
million
go.
different
Yeah.
cakes.
we have like a bunch of
Whole
cakes released,
line
and you
of
just keep,
cakes.
and I'm like,
And you're like grabbing him by the
You're being
scruff.
cake boarded.
I'm being cake boarded.
Being cake boarded on
Yeah.
your wedding day.
Dude.
Well, you know what? We could also maybe make this a really good viral moment if like we also incorporated some discourse where I'd be like, you know what I think about bisexuals at Pride?
And then yeah.
Yeah. And
then cake.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, he deserved that.
She deserved that.
But yeah, I really wonder how like people would perceive it because obviously like they absolutely hate those.
They hate that.
groom
And
ones.
I don't love it either, to be clear. Those
No,
videos
I don't like. I think they're fucking weird as hell. But like, it incites a rage in people that's like unprecedented.
because
you know.
honestly, you know what? At their core, a lot of those commenters are mad at. It's like this guy's in a loving relationship and they're not. That's what they're mad
I
at.
guess
They're like,
so.
this is an obnoxious move. And what do you mean the guy doing this
He's
obnoxious
getting
move has
married,
found love? And I'm commenting on TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh wait, also there's the one with the guy with like the really just like gross sexual vows.
Well, there's so many videos of those. I was actually about to bring that up. There's actually a ton of videos of like, because when grooms write their own vows, a lot of them think they're being like wink, wink funny. And they're like, yeah, when I first met you, my second thought was, I love you. Obviously, my first thought was nice ass and boobs.
Nice ass and boobs.
And then it cuts to the bride, and she's like,
no, but the one really viral one is like he's being extremely vulgar, and even like everybody around, like his groomsmen and like his mom, they keep like interjecting and being like, Brandon. Like, do you know that? Like, during his
Wait,
thing.
what were his?
I don't even want to repeat it. It's so
It kept
nasty.
going. He was
what?
like, obviously I'm excited for today, but of course I'm more excited for tonight when I get to take you to the sheets.
But his work, he was extremely vulgar. Like,
And it
I
kept
don't even
going.
want to repeat it on this pod
It
because of how
kept
vulgar
going.
it is.
Wow.
It kept going.
Like, it's really rough.
And as Eve said, like it starts with people being like, Brandon. But by
then it's like, Brandon.
Brandon.
Dude.
Yeah.
And by the way, Brandon looks like exactly as you would imagine, like the type of like obnoxious white guy.
And then obviously the wife gets on TikTok defending him, being like, guys, that's his sense of humor. I thought his vows were really funny. It's like, girl, be
you don't have
so
to do
for
that.
real.
Also, to me, I'm like, just let him take the L.
Yeah.
You can no one's saying you have to divorce him. Actually, people were saying he should divorce him.
People were being
But
like, I'm not, you can't marry him.
But I'm like, in a situation like that, sometimes you just gotta go, yeah, this was a fuck up and I'm embarrassed.
She's gotta know who he is.
She knows who he is.
Like,
I'm sure
she
she wasn't
knows.
surprised.
She knows
Like, that's who he is.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
But then you gotta know it's like, don't write your own vows. I'm sure that when Dana does her vows,
No,
they're
but
gonna
see,
be
then I'm
every
saying
bit
this
as
is
gross.
another one.
You think my vows are going to be as
No,
gross as
but you
Brandon?
should, so to go along with the kid flipping the script,
I
you
should
have
do
to make
vulgar vows about
disgusting
Robert.
vows.
I mean, look,
and
I
then
have
I'll
some
be,
ideas.
and then I'll be like, Dana.
Yeah. I'm loving
I just
this.
picture Dana doing her disgusting vows, and then a pan of everyone's reactions, and everyone's disgusted except for Eve, who's just like,
Or I'm like mouthing them along together.
We've been workshopping these for months.
We've been workshopping the vows.
Damn. Well, I'm excited to be really offensive and vulgar in front of your
And then
family.
smash them into the cake board.
And then smash
and then I'm gonna get on TikTok and be like,
Yeah.
guys, I actually thought those vows were not okay.
I'm divorcing Dana. Yeah.
No, yeah, her defending him on TikTok was really rough. It was like, oh my god, girl.
Whenever like there's like one of those situations about like where like one person in a couple does something embarrassing, the video on TikTok goes viral, and then never defend.
Famously, Marsha P. Johnson's girlfriend defended him.
Marsha P. Johnson's girlfriend defended him.
If you don't know Marsha P. Johnson, it was this guy on TikTok who made like funny videos, and then they started doing the whole nail polish like necklace kind of fuckboy fashion style.
Yeah.
And people were just like I don't know, just saying it
They were
was kind
saying
of
he
lame.
was cringe, and then he responded by being like, "I'm cringe." Well, actually, this fashion was inspired by a
Marsha P. Johnson,
The
an
woman
African American
who-
trans
who
activist.
threw the
if I'm
first
not-
brick at Stonewall, I believe.
Yeah.
Is what she's
Basically
known
a very
for,
important
but-
trans activist
Yeah.
that this man
And he was like,
decided
"That's
to
where
co-opt.
my
Yeah.
fashion sense comes from." And everyone was
Yeah.
like, "Are you like on crack?" Like,
What's funny is on TikTok, he's forever Marsha P. Johnson, but he's
Yeah.
actually
he
created a
escaped to
new
YouTube.
life on
He escaped
YouTube.
to YouTube.
And people like
And
him
he
on
thrives
YouTube.
there.
Yeah.
And as for my own opinion on him, I don't have one.
Robert doesn't have one.
But anyways, my point was that his girlfriend hopped on to defend him, but it was just like so unnecessary because she wasn't even like involved in it at all.
And then it's like now she's taking bullets too. It's
Yeah.
like just again, turn off the phone, go on a walk. Well, I had an alt TikTok account for a while that had a few thousand, and I had a video. It was kind of a joke about it was a joke about weddings or whatever. But some people who had similar style weddings were bothered by it, and so they would stitch that video all
You
the
don't
time.
want to say what it was?
No, I don't. They
yeah,
would.
a million, we'll say.
Not a million.
Yeah, they would stitch that a bunch of times, and all the stitches would go viral. And I was being dunked on, and they were going viral. But because it was my alt, I literally didn't notice until I logged back in into it a few weeks later, and then it was already over. And I'm like, yeah, just turn off your phone.
Yeah,
Just
it's
turn
not
off your
that
phone.
deep.
It's okay. If you step in it and people dunk on you, assuming you didn't like commit a felony or something, it's like just turn off your phone.
Silly, like the Marsha P. Johnson gate was obviously silly.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm stressed out about something on my phone, I always just like pretend. I'm in a workout class right now. You know what I mean?
Or you could just go to a workout
Or
class.
just go to one for real.
No, but
we
I
go
could
to
just
workout classes
pretend
for
I'm in a
real.
workout class. I'm going to pretend I'm in a workout class right now.
Just do it for real.
Easy for you to say. Miss Addicted to Workout Class.
Yeah.
I will say it's hard to dunk on someone for being addicted to like
I know.
workout
I mean,
classes.
yeah,
It's
as I
like,
tried, I was like,
going to
what?
another group fitness activity? It's like, it's no fun to
Yeah,
clown
and that's
on
what
some-
I'm seeing the woman from White Lotus and you're not.
No, really.
I will say I was a little bit. I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
Soul Cycles that we didn't go to as a group, and that's a celebrity
missed out on
sighting
a
that
good sighting.
we would actually
No,
be.
we really appreciate
we feel
it.
joy
Spoke
about.
to me. Like
I mean, that was Robert's sexual awakening.
No, stop saying she's my sexual awakening.
I'm just doing a little joke, but the fact that you're so defensive to me implies
Shows
that
that
it
she
is.
really
Like,
was.
yeah, because
you're so
Robert,
defensive
if
about
she wasn't
it.
your sexual
then
awakening, you wouldn't
be so
constantly be like,
defensive.
she wasn't my sexual awakening.
The only reason I'm like,
It's like I okay.
the only reason I keep saying she wasn't my sexual awakening is because you keep saying she was my sexual
Yeah,
awakening.
but I keep
You're
saying
taking
it,
something
like, as a
pure.
joke.
This
It's
is
like-
the type of energy you're going to bring to a wedding vows. You're going to take something that should be pure and you're going to make it dirty and disgusting.
Yeah, I am, and it's gonna go viral as frick.
But yeah, when you have a moment, you should watch the Disgusting Guy's Vows
Okay,
for
got it.
inspiration.
I
for your
remember
vows.
Oh, also I was thinking for your outfit, maybe you could do like a dress and then you could do like a bow tie.
Okay,
Like,
that'd
to
be cute.
symbolize
That'd be cute.
Best, like a
Yeah,
choker,
best
bow
man
tie
and
kind of
maid of
vibe. I
honor.
think that'd be
Well,
cute.
speaking of vows, it's also another kind of classic viral kind of cringe thing that happens at weddings is best man speeches at weddings also being just so insanely vulgar that it makes everyone
Oh, yeah.
uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, so when I found out Jeff was getting married to a Sally, I was like, oh wow, Sally, really gonna marry the cum guzzler? That was his nickname in college. Let's start the slideshow. Cum guzzle round one.
That's gonna be my speech for both of you guys.
The cum guzzler.
Both
You're like,
of your guys'
like I'm so happy
nicknames
both
were
cum
cum
guzzlers have found each other. In this
So they
life.
can guzzle cum
Yeah.
And
together.
we're like, Eve. And then we're like, Eve. Eve.
Eve.
But yeah, I can't wait for the wedding content.
No, I'm excited.
Well,
I mean,
we're
it
gonna
sounds like we have
crush.
some good viral videos
Yeah.
already.
No, I think
I
those
think the
will
cake
both
one
be
will do
really
well.
good.
I think if my vows are particularly vulgar, that'll do
It
really
is
well.
funny to have it's like they all go viral individually, and then internet sleuths start to piece together. Like, wait a minute, this is all the same wedding.
No, we should do every single possible viral rage bait.
Completely.
Right, so we'll do horrible vows from you,
Yeah.
horrible speech from me,
Wedding
cake
face smash.
dunking.
I even think I could do one of the ones where I make up like a fake makeup artist who ruined my makeup.
Those
or something
always
like
go
that.
by- the
Those
makeup
always
artist
do really
ones?
good.
And then what I'll
I could
do-
do like I could pretend my hair lady like burnt my hair
Oh
off.
my
right
God,
before
yeah,
my
yeah,
wedding.
yeah.
And then I'll be like, some people are hating on my outfit at my wedding, but it was inspired by Marsha P. Johnson.
Right,
And then we'll kind of check that box a little bit.
That's a good one.
Also,
That's a good
it's-
We'll
one.
do a whole brainstorm. And if you have any ideas, young
Let us know, let
alternators
us
for
know.
potentially viral wedding TikToks,
And it goes without
let us
saying,
know.
this will of course ruin the vibe of the actual event. My
But it's for the content.
my grandmother's so confused. We're doing like 30 camera setups.
Dude, Robert's family. Here's my thing. I think my family just expects like weird shit from me at this
Right.
point, probably.
Nonsense.
But like Robert's family, I don't know how they'll react.
like, why is he
Like-
getting dunked in?
Right?
Why is my face
is
getting
he
slammed into the cake
slammed into the cake?
repeatedly?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, a fair question. I just imagine like my grandmother trying to like come in and give me a hug on my wedding day. Like, no, you're in the shot. You're in the shot.
Everyone's talking. I'm like, quiet on set.
Quiet on set.
Yeah.
No, you're like macaroni in the bunghole. If you guys are, no, we haven't talked about that. If you're so,
I don't
okay.
even remember macaroni in the bunghole.
no,
It's like when people are
what
like
they
quiet on
say
set when they have
on
like
set.
words that don't make
yes.
sense.
They're like apples in the courtyard. Someone said like they always have like weird code names for things. Like if they want you to move to, or just like turn off that light. Like
Yeah. So
the
yeah.
phrase for turn off that light is like macaroni in the bung.
like film people refuse to just like use
Some
normal
people
words to
refuse to be
communicate.
normal. Some
They
people
refuse to be
refuse to be
normal.
normal.
There's like a code
Yeah.
word for every single thing
You'll
they
be
want
like,
you to
oh
do.
man, does anyone have any water? And then some like AD will be like, piss stain on the tumbleweed.
And then somebody brings you water because they know that piss stain in the tumbleweed
Yeah.
means bring water.
Or they don't bring you water because they're like, what?
That's like, what the
Yeah.
hell does piss stain in the tumbleweed mean?
Or like you can't find an actor, and they're
Yeah.
like, anyone got eyes on the gopher?
eyes on the gopher.
Eyes on the
Eyes on the
gopher.
gopher.
Eyes on the gopher.
Eyes on
It's
gopher.
like what?
And then you look at them like, what? And then they're like, we need an actor.
Yeah. God.
God.
Well, there was times like I think that they were trying to say quiet on set, but
Yeah.
it was your short film we were filming
Yeah.
here, so the noise was coming from your mom walking around upstairs.
Yeah, my mom was walking
But
around
your mom
upstairs.
is not in the set world, so they
Yeah.
would say things like, "Hey, can we get cattle prods on the sunset?" And obviously your mom's like, "What?" And
Like,
it
what
would-
is cattle prods on the sunset?
And they're like, yeah,
and then they're acting like she's crazy.
she's crazy
Right.
because she doesn't know that cattle prods on the sunset
Means
that
quiet.
She
Yeah,
needs
just
to
like,
shut
hey,
the
can we get
fuck
some
up.
quiet?
But
Hey, just say shut
shut the freak up.
yeah, because at
Yeah.
least we all know what that means.
Yes.
Yeah, we all get it. You say piss stain on the tumbleweed, I'm gonna think you're saying cattle prods on the sunset,
So
and I'm gonna be
real.
quiet when you want me to bring someone water.
So real,
So
so
real.
real.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Okay, what else, bro?
Eve, what do you got?
I brought the wedding topic.
No, that,
That
was
was a
really
great
good. That was a
topic.
great one.
so
And I did make us cut out 3 hours of content.
yeah.
Right.
So who's doing the heavy lifting
So
here?
I
Me.
guess
Do you have
that
any good
would
stuff?
be me.
What are your topics for this week?
What
Well, okay, I can talk about my hair.
What?
So-
No, we
No,
we
I
can't talk
can't.
about that. Okay, see now Eve wants us to
okay,
cut.
now I'm doing something
Okay,
that I,
good.
that I
Thank
can't
God.
talk about, and maybe I'll expose it a million subs.
I'm so relieved that I stumbled upon this though, because now I don't feel so bad about making us cut something because now we've stumbled on. Oh, that's a great topic.
I don't even know what you're talking
You
about.
know what we're talking about. It was Eve.
It's I don't even want to say
Don't
what
say
it's
it.
related
It was
to.
the thing Eve was talking about on our walk. On our walk.
Oh my god, that's such a
We
good
can't
one.
talk
That's
about
so
it.
good.
Can't talk about it.
Oh man.
Well, this also is good because when we hit 1 million subs and then people can't do the routine of like, since they've gotten famous, they refuse to talk about anything.
Right, we haven't
We've
yeah,
never
we've never
talked about
anything.
We've never said shit.
Well, I can talk about how my second Dyson finally broke.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've actually, okay, here's the thing that I've noticed is, and maybe it's just a coincidence and it's where I am in the algorithm, but since my second Dyson broke and I haven't been able to do my like fluffy Farrah Fawcett waves, my videos have been performing like really bad. And I'm
Whoa,
like,
because you
am
don't
I
have good hair
only-
anymore?
Is it my hair? Like was the whole reason I was going viral my
Also,
fluffy hair?
Dana's insane about this.
I'm just kidding. I'm
Dana will go
joking.
viral constantly every day. Her following doubled on TikTok in like a 2-week period. And as soon as it slows down, she acts like she's like being shadow banned and blacklisted. She'll say things like that earnestly, like, I'm doing really bad on TikTok ever since I stopped styling my hair that way. It's like, you had to go 3 days without going viral. This also happened because we got Dana set up on Facebook because like, I know, peek behind the curtain, comedians do really well on Facebook. It's a great money maker for a lot of comedians, just kind of repost their content and make a lot of money. But Dana just created her Facebook. She literally just started it. She has not posted anything. And she looks at me and she goes, Ernest, she goes, okay, so where's the part where I get money? Where's the money here?
Where's the money?
It's like you just clocked into your first day at a new job. And you're like, when's payday? Where's the money though?
I mean, that's
Where's
me.
her money at, though?
Where's
Run her
my money
check.
at, though?
Yeah.
Run me my check.
And then when
Run
she
me
wants
my
to
check.
quit, they try to run her check and they're like, where's Dana? Like, Dana's gone. She doesn't care about the money. When Dana's not getting money, she's obsessed with getting money. And then when she's getting money, she's bored.
You never know my next move.
Never know her
You
next
never know.
move.
But I am like, dude, I'm so sad because I'm like, what if until I get a Dyson, I don't go viral?
Dude.
And then that brings me to my complaint with Dyson.
Which is that they always
Which is
break
that
after
they break
2
after
years.
2 years,
And
and
when's
the
their
warranty
warranty?
convenient.
2 years.
Very
convenient.
convenient. don't
Very
you think?
convenient.
Then I saw another TikTok about how apparently the guy who invented the Dyson vacuum, he went through 5,126 models before he had one that worked.
Whoa.
Everyone always says that. I see a lot of those TikToks. They're like, Walt Disney was rejected by 3,000 studios and J.K. Rowling was rejected by 15 publishers. It's like, what if that's not true? And like the real story is Walt Disney's like, oh yeah, it was actually super easy. First person I asked was down. Was totally down.
And that wouldn't make a very good TikTok, would it?
Yeah. But sometimes with like those inspirational TikToks, I'm like, what's your research? Do we even know that? They're like, Tom Brady was punched in the face by every NFL GM before he was allowed to touch a football. Is that true? I guess we don't know.
We'll never know.
I'm not doing the research, and neither are you.
Well, the internet is full of misinformation, famously.
True.
Well, I also did. We didn't talk about this, but there's like an influencer. He's like an entrepreneur influencer where he was talking about how he parents his son. And he was like, it's all right. It's a schedule that's so extreme that it would be child abuse if it was real, but it's so
It's clearly
fake.
not.
He's like, my son, he gets out of school at 3, and then from 3 to 4:30, he's in the gym doing jujitsu, and from 4:30 to 7, he's doing baseball, and from 7 to 8:30, he's swimming, and from 8:30 to 10, he's reading Marcus Aurelius, and from 10:30 to 11, it's like this isn't true.
Also, there's no time for transportation. Like, he lays out the schedule, and I'm like, wait, how did he get from jiu-jitsu to baseball?
Yeah.
Also, like, what? How did he get from baseball to swimming?
Also, how is he on every sports team at the exact same time, regardless of season? It's like football, then soccer, then baseball. It's
Again, it would be child abuse if it was real.
if it was real.
But it's
Dude,
not.
viral's a hell of a drug.
Viral
bro.
is a hell of a drug.
Also,
And
people are fucking
I mean, some
addicted.
people are making up fake schedules for their kids. Some people are shoving each other's
Into the
faces in
cake.
cake. Some people are saying extremely vulgar things as their wedding
Well,
vows.
that's what the wife should have said when she defended her husband. She should have got on TikTok and been like, hey, look, viral's a hell of a
Viral's a hell of
drug.
a drug.
My husband was aura farming.
My husband was aura farming.
I mean, I did used to say that viral is more addictive than heroin.
Yeah.
And I used to be really addicted to viral.
I thought you were gonna say
I was really addicted to heroin.
I lived quite a life.
Yeah.
But I'm not addicted to viral anymore.
wow.
Or I would have found a way to buy a Dyson. Another
so
Dyson already.
So true.
Dyson, we need a
but
brand.
Dyson, I would love to
Yeah,
collab.
we need
I
to
would love
collab.
for you to hook it up. I could do a comedic. I was telling Eve, I could do a comedic hair tutorial for you if that's
Why would it
something
be
you'd interesting.
comedic?
Because that's my like niche. That's
no, but
my
okay, never mind.
gimmick.
I don't
What?
know.
Like, what would
I'm
be
done
comedic
with
about
this.
it?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'd have to think of
Okay.
jokes for it. Obviously, I'd have to brainstorm
for sure.
It's sometimes so amazing just how much Eve can show disinterest.
Yeah.
It's so like I've never like seen someone who can more like with every aspect of their being communicate. I don't care. I don't care about any of this.
It's the
Okay,
subtext, it's the
well.
text, it's the body language,
Yeah.
it's everything.
What can I say? An update on the podcast that we were talking about last week where they got into like some drama about like one of the hosts like quit and then was replaced by a different host and then claimed that she was hijacked and that she was owed $250,000
Because the podcast was making in her words
$20,000
$20,000
a
a
month.
month. Of course, the
Anyways,
other girl released an explanation
clapped back.
where the clapback was just like, no,
No, we
obviously
didn't
we
make
weren't making
$20,000
close to that.
which
Which is
did
what
call
we
BS
said,
on.
yeah.
We were like, there's no way y'all are making 20K
So
a
she
month.
basically was like, the amount of money that this like girl's claiming we made is laughable and not true.
She's like,
and we
she's
were like,
asking for $250,000. Like, girl, we never made that.
No.
You know it.
Well, sometimes people will say that even to me, where I'll like make a TikTok about where like it's a joke, but I'll be like, haha, I'm short of money right now, and I'm joking. And the comments will be like, how can you be short of money? You're a successful TikToker.
And it's like,
dude, what? What do you,
Be
what do
so
you-
for real.
How do you think any of this works?
Yeah.
But Robert and I also talk about a lot how the way that people engage with online content is like they simultaneously clearly like understand that it's not real, but also like they take it so literally. Like there's a comedian that I follow and she posted like a stand-up clip where the joke is like about how she's single, and then like there were a couple comments that were like, you just posted the other day about how happy you are with your boyfriend, and she
So
was like,
much since
yeah, and she
then.
was like, oh, that was like this is an old clip, and
Yeah.
it's like what
Well, people famously
there's like there's a major disconnect in how you guys are like receiving content versus like
Well,
how it's intended.
Like, you know how for years like people thought like professional wrestling was real. They thought
Yeah.
like WWE was real. It's like now people are like that, but for like viral videos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
so
you get
real.
that like
That's
people
so
are
real.
just we're trying to go viral. Viral is a hell of a drug.
Well, I'll make a joke like, working a 9-to-5 job sucks because of XYZ. And people are like, you don't work a 9-to-5 job. You're way too successful a TikToker. It's like, what?
Also, it's like, how much do you think people make on TikTok?
yeah.
Like,
Oh, well, someone said this on TikTok. They were like, you seem too rich to be working a 9-to-5 job, which first of all, as I always say, it's like, that's just kind of, a lot of that is just kind of the way I talk and dress. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's your eyebrows.
I think it's the
your hair
eyebrows.
they go, no
styling.
poor man
Yeah.
has those
No,
eyebrows.
poor man has. I look like I'd be telling Tiger Woods to get dressed in the parking lot. You know what I mean? But like, that's just my look. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're a ski,
But
but
also-
you've never skied.
But when we talk about like also like the way online discourse is, people think 9-to-5 job is synonymous with shitty life and poor. And I'm like, you get that like
There are
finance
high-paying
guys work 9-to-5 jobs.
yeah.
There's people making like 6 figures
Who
working
work
9 to 5.
There's people making 7 figures working 9 to 5.
Yeah.
On God, bro.
There's
Oh,
people
God.
making a bunch of little miniature figures that then sell in toy stores working 9 to 5.
T.
If you're a 9 to 5 toy maker.
There's people doing
So
figure
true.
skating who work probably more than 9. I feel like they skate a lot.
They skate a lot.
Probably like 4 a.m. to like, I don't know. Skaters get up really early.
There's figs you're eating
Okay.
from the
Dude.
icebox.
Okay, but then back to the podcast thing. She was like showing her receipts and we were like on board with her, right? And then she goes, and also I get really bad stress rashes when people stress
So it's
me
like
out.
we're on her team, and then
here's
suddenly
the photos
And she
of
shows
my
photos
rashes,
of her rashes.
that
I'm like,
were caused by this girl. And it's like, well, there's no
Yeah.
way of proving.
we were on your side until you said that like this girl caused your boobs to have rashes on
and then
them.
cut
And we like
to
were cleavage
various
pictures of her
photos
rash.
of her rashes all over her body, and it's like, okay.
Well, it's like if to use the young old metaphor, if Eve was like, our podcast was making $20,000 a month, and they owe me 250 grand, and I went, hey, our podcast actually wasn't making that. In fact, we weren't making close to that. Here's our money, and also it made me shit my pants when she said
a
that.
bunch of photos
And
of
here's
his poop
photos of my
pants
poopy pants.
as evidence.
And it's like,
Your
I was
Honor,
on your team.
Your Honor.
Your Honor.
I pooped my pants.
Your
I
Honor, I
pooped my
pooped my pants. The other lawyer is like, objection, that's really gross.
Objection.
Sustained.
But she also made a good point in her video and expose where she was like, it's really kind of sad how people only have cared about us and the podcast because of this drama, to which we say true.
Because we only tuned in for the drama.
We only tuned
To
in
which
for
we
the
say
drama.
that's true. And she said that we need to analyze our internet consumption behavior, and to which I say true.
And to which I say true.
To which I say valid.
Yeah.
True.
I will never be watching anything dramatic ever again.
Robert's
Never.
taking a break from
Never.
drama.
And then she was also like, people need to stop leaving me such horrible DMs. And I was like, yeah, I should probably stop DMing her to kill herself.
She's like, here's the screenshots of all the
probably
horrible
stop.
stuff Eve Donnelly sent me.
I should probably knock it off, but I just want to see more of her rash pics. So I'm trying to
Send
call
rash pics.
Rash
I'm
pics
trying
or
to-
GTFO.
I'm like, girl, for free? Giving out
For
those
free?
rash pics for free?
For free?
Yeah, I'm trying to give her rashes. So that's why I've been DMing her so much, for the rash of it all.
Speaking of influencers, and this is actually going back previously to Film Cooper, who again I have nothing
We
against.
never said his
We
name.
never said his name.
Did we not?
We never said his
Marsha
name.
P. Johnson.
Yeah, but
everyone
we never
knows who
said-
Marsha P.
fine.
Johnson is.
Okay, well.
Not on YouTube.
I just remember, and again, a massive fan base. Wish him well. But I remember in his original TikToks, I liked his comedy TikToks when he would do like funny little comedy skits, and he had like long hair and he was kind of like a funny, crazy guy, and I followed him. But then he pivoted to kind of short hair thirst traps. Like he went from like doing comedy skits to then he did a content pivot to now it's like him shirtless, like whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's a bait and switch.
It's because he got too big a head from like girls calling him cute because he was being funny.
Yeah.
And it's like they thought you were cute because you were being funny. They don't want to see your thirst trap.
I think this is actually a
Or
trap.
if,
A lot
even
of
if they do, let them enjoy that. But then it's
Right.
like, what about those of us who literally were just here for the funny?
Right. But I think it's a trap a lot of comedians fall into, and I think even I have fallen into this trap at some times, where it's like you get attention for being funny, and because you're funny, like the standard for you being attractive is actually lower, which you don't
Exactly,
understand.
exactly.
But it's like people will be
It's
like,
like you didn't blow up for
like
thirst traps.
I for a little while was like popping off doing funny videos, and people would occasionally comment that I was like pretty, and I literally was like, I should be a model.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I shouldn't be a model. And also,
Right.
also I think there is a level of like, no, you're attractive
For being funny. For
being
like
funny.
you're not attractive.
Yeah.
You're funny, and
You're
for
pretty for
someone
a
who's
funny person.
You're pretty for
Yeah.
a funny person. And like I think that's hard for funny people who've never been called attractive to understand.
They want to believe
they
that they're
want
attractive.
To believe they're attractive.
Well-
They want to believe. I always wanted to believe that I could pop off just like lip syncing and being hot. But the reality is I'm not hot enough to pop off. And even I've talked about this and
Yeah.
yelled
Yeah.
ad nauseum. But like we are not.
We're not lip sync hot. We're not lip sync hot.
We're not lip sync hot.
Dana is very reluctantly hilarious, iconic, and relatable.
Yeah,
She'd prefer
I'm
to just be an aloof hot girl
And yet,
just walking around the pool.
people
But I'm not
demand
hot
personality.
enough to be aloof.
Well,
Like,
someone-
and that's so annoying, but that's what it is.
Yeah, well, it's also like for me, it's like okay, it's like within like the comedy community, I'm up there, and I don't say that with a big
Yes.
head. I'm perceived
Within
as being
the-
up there.
also within the comedy community.
As soon as you remove me from the comedy community, that I'm a troll, and people throw me coins and want to hear my riddles. Like when we go to like
Tea.
when I walk,
Tea.
that's tea.
Tea.
That's tea. But like when I like walk around Venice, Venice, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, it's not. Like,
I'm a
whatever.
riddle man.
I'm a riddle man.
I'm the riddle man.
I'm the riddle
In
man.
Venice, I'm the riddle man.
Yeah.
In this specific niche of comedy TikTok, I guess I'm Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I'm Scarlett Johansson in the comedy niche of TikTok.
But then as soon as you stop being funny, they're like, why is this riddle bitch
right, exactly.
trying to be fun, trying to be
Right.
serious?
But
sexy. Right.
But y'all were the Brangelina of comedy, and that's why everyone
we were
hated
the Brangelina
you.
of comedy.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone said, "Don't let them up."
Get them out of here. They're too hot to be here. Well, I've always said, you know who hates you more than anyone? Someone who's you, but 10% less attractive.
It's
They
facts.
hate you. And that's in general.
Because they could be you, as Robert says, you're a salad away.
You're just like a salad away.
You're a salad away.
And who do I hate?
You're
People who
15
I'm a
minutes
salad away
yes,
from.
and we
So
all
real.
just hate
Everyone,
people
it's a
who we're
cycle of
salad away
everyone
from.
hating who's a salad away from them.
Well, Eve and I talked about this too, where like a lot of fives don't get that like sevens are also fives who are
Who be
trying.
working.
We be trying. Like every day I wake up and I say, how can I look good? And then you who look like me in morning. Okay, this is also what I always say. Like there are people in this world who are they're 8s when they wake up. And they're 8s when they go to bed. Me, I'm a 2 when I wake up. I'm a 2 when I go to bed. I'm a 7 during the day because I be putting in that work.
That's what I think is crazy about Biter, because he doesn't do anything.
But he's
Just
one of
wakes
God's
up looking
natural
cute.
10s.
And
Speaking of Biter, this morning, first thing in the morning, Biter runs into her room and immediately starts puking on the floor. Rise and shine.
Rise and shine, baby.
And look at him resting now. Now he's like, oh yeah, my work is done.
He ruined
Probably
one of
because
our
he saw
rubs.
your guys' morning 2 faces.
And he's like, oh,
And he
oh,
was so disgusted.
how can they be comedy 8s?
Right. And he was disgusted by
They're
seeing
morning
your morning
twos.
2.
We're morning twos.
And that's why he threw up.
Yeah. Well, to me, like for me to be a presentable, to be in like the 7, even 8 range, it's like I need like some runway. You got to
Yeah.
give me some heads up, and then maybe we'll get there.
Well, Eve always says that she's 40 minutes away.
I'm like, give me 40 minutes,
give
bro.
her 40 minutes,
Yeah.
bro.
I can glow up. I swear.
But we need that 40 minutes.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of the Friends reunion special, that was something I thought because look, obviously they're all older and they all look gorgeous for their age, blah 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 blah. But they all look great in still photographs
Yeah.
when the lighting's perfect and their makeup's perfect and their stylist's perfect. But the problem with the Friends reunion special was they were in motion and you really see that like, oh, they're barely being held together.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of like surgeries that you can get definitely make it so in a still photo you can preserve your look, but once you take it to motion, it's
Yeah, it's not
rough.
it's not practical.
There's a melted candle element.
Yeah, which that's why I'm kind of making sure when I get my bluffs done, I'm going to do it right.
I was literally just going to bring up bluffs because, like, people were saying, oh, the girl who got the bluff surgery isn't responsible for making you, like, insecure. But, okay, so Oscar and Just Trish brought this up, but he was like, I didn't realize until after she got the bluff surgery that one of my eyes has like a heavier eyelid. And I was like, oh my God, maybe I could benefit. So he's like, I get why like people like I never thought that until and like low-key same like I'm doing my eye makeup and I'm like, wait, Nami having
Heavy
eyelids.
but then I like have to, it's like, you know, where you have the thought bubble and then you have to like shake it out because it's like, and it's like, no, I literally do blame you for putting evil thoughts in people's heads.
No, you are. You're creating
Because
negative.
it's like no, it's nobody thought that.
Yeah.
Nobody would even think of if there was a
Well, you're
bluff chart.
introducing new insecurities.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
no one
like
even
nobody
thought about
thought
that.
that. Nobody thought that.
You're saying, hi, nice to meet you. I'm a new insecurity
Right.
you've never even considered.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That will lead you to a $15,000 decision that you wouldn't have made
Honestly,
otherwise.
okay, I mean, obviously the money's crazy, but just the recovery of it all, it just looks so nasty.
Also, like that's your face and eyes.
like I just can't.
to me, I'm like, these are my heavy bluffs, and I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, I'm like these are my
These are
busted,
my-
ugly, stupid, heavy bluffs.
These are my ugly bluffs,
But
and I
like
love
no,
them.
nothing can be worth the stitching in the eye.
We should make
It
shirts.
just
We
makes
should
me
make
like
shirts that
cringe
say,
thinking
I
about
love my
it.
ugly bluffs.
Oh,
Dude.
that's good merch.
Yeah.
That's
good
great.
merch.
Honestly,
That's good young
great
old merch.
I,
Yeah.
I love my ugly bluffs. Well, to me, I know we said it. It's funny when you said I always say this. We always say everything we say because we just repeat the
Yeah,
same
because we're
12
constantly
phrases.
talking about the same thing.
But I am like, if you're like in your 20s and you're getting like these surgeries, I'm like, your recovery time is like, these are supposed to be the best time of your life. And you're going to blow like 6 months of it, like blindfolded trying to recover.
Tea.
I mean, I always thought that about Kylie Jenner, like at age 18, getting so much work done. I also would always think about how like she would post content daily, and I was like, she must be banking this content, because a lot of times it's like those kind of people, like they're in and out of surgery, and I'm like, they must have content ready to go because they're probably in recovery.
Well,
right
they're
now.
getting the same type of like recovery and rehab as if they were playing NFL and tore both their ACLs to shreds, but it's just purely elective.
Yeah,
Tea.
it's crazy.
I mean, look, it's pretty wild.
Crazy shit out here. But that's also what I'm saying in regard to like people perceiving content like it's real life, is like you don't even know when someone took the content versus when they're posting it. Like it's like Kylie, when she was pregnant, she posted non-pregnant content for like 6 months of her pregnancy. Like you don't know what people are up to.
Well, I remember there was some actor where there was like a whole subreddit calling them a deadbeat dad because the last photo of them with their kids was from the previous Thanksgiving, and then meanwhile we were just driving on LA. We like saw this
him
person
and his kid.
with his kids multiple times.
He just didn't take a
He just
picture
didn't
of it,
post
so he's
it.
not
Posting it all the time.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's just so weird that like you think that you can create a full narrative based off the very select and limited information that you have access to on the internet.
Well, the internet, it's the illusion of a lot of content. Like,
It's
if
the-
someone posts every day, you think you have consistent access, but it's like, that's the tiniest little snapshot. And a lot of times, like you said, it wasn't even taken that day.
Or it's like not even, was it not taken that day? It's like maybe I posted it before, like years ago.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about that all the time too. Robert and I are constantly like redoing jokes, or like,
Yeah.
not to like shatter the illusion, but like,
Yeah, I'm not just
They're
coming
like
up with this
shaking and
live.
crying at home right now
Yeah.
that you don't come up with new ones every single time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say that people on the internet thought you guys had broken up because Dana wasn't on. I don't know if they just thought, oh, Dana's dead now.
People thought she was dead.
I mean,
thought
they're
Robert
like, oh,
killed
she's
me.
They thought Dana was dead and thought I killed her.
Yeah.
But then also like maybe you posted like a stand-up clip or something from years ago that's like, I'm single right now, like I don't know, something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. And so then people are so stupid that they're like, obviously the clip looks, I mean, at least or it's obvious to me, I guess, but maybe that's just because I know what you looked like years ago,
Yeah.
or whatever.
I guess if you don't know,
then maybe you would think it was recent.
But it's like, it's just so
but-
interesting because like there's also a level of like, it's art. You know what I mean? Like in the same way that I don't look at a Jackson Pollock painting and go, he's clearly going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you don't, what?
But then being like, oh, I guess they're broken up because she said she's single, and it's like, use your brain, bro.
Use your brain, bro.
Oh, it's 444.
444.
Angel numbers.
Demonic.
Yeah.
Bruh.
All right, this isn't the same thing, but
Yeah.
it's like I just saw.
What if it was 666?
That's not a
Whoa.
time.
Yeah, but then wouldn't that really scare you? Then?
Dude, that'd be scary like mine.
Dude, that would be scary. That's the beginning of the Young Old Horror Movie. It's like we're doing the podcast and then we look at the clock and it's 666.
Yeah. Dude, I
I'm
can't
like,
wait-
that's not a time.
I can't wait to expand the Young Old IP into a
Yeah.
horror movie.
Dude, I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're great horror movie characters because according to the rules of horror movie logic, we all deserve to die because we're a little bit annoying.
We're annoying as frick. We're a little annoying.
And
We're a little
I'm
snarky.
there for that. I love when someone's slightly annoying and then they die a brutal death.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would your horror movie death be?
I mean, it would be brutal. I would
Yeah.
literally be. I always say this in a horror movie. I know this. I would get killed early, and it would be Dana's fault. It would be something like Dana was taking too long drying her hair, so I had to go do something she was supposed to do, and then the killer would approach me mid-activity, and I'd be like, "Oh my god!"
I just know mine would be like something like vanity related. Like I'd get like my eyes gouged out with like a mascara wand, or like I'd get my tongue cut out because I'm like too
Jesus.
yappy. I'm just saying.
Good lord.
Okay.
I do think here's the thing with a lot of horror movies. Like, if I'm being honest, I think I would survive them because I would simply never be in the situation.
Okay, but
I mean, I know that's like I'm doing
would
the
yours
Eve
be?
now.
I don't know.
Okay, what's your topic? You guys are so boring.
I don't know.
Eve asked us about our horror movie deaths, and then she had nothing.
no, I
asked.
didn't.
I asked
Oh.
about it.
I don't
Sorry.
And I had
care.
mine ready to go, just like I had my donut
Yeah.
collaboration.
Well, this
ready to
isn't
go.
really a fun topic, but someone was talking about Lance Armstrong, and they were saying how Lance Armstrong's big thing after he was caught cheating was like, hey, like the top 50 cyclists were all cheating. All the top 50 cyclists were all cheating. Why are you mad at me? And it's like that doesn't make me like not be mad at you. That just makes me feel really bad for the 51st guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the guy who didn't get the memo.
Yeah,
and
like-
he's like, oh, this is why I'm coming in 51st.
All the cyclists were
So
like,
he's
hey,
the real
yeah.
winner.
he's like, what does it
That's
matter
so
that we were
real.
cheating?
He's the real winner.
The top
Yeah.
100 guys were all cheating. Like, if I'm 101, I'm like, I knew it.
I knew it.
That's
I
real
was
as
working
fuck.
so
I knew
hard.
it.
That's real as fuck.
Yeah. So even though Young Old might be like the 101st podcast
Right.
out there,
It's 'cause
everyone
we're not
else is
cheating.
Anyway, but going back to the vulgar wedding vows, he was remembering the type of stuff
Well,
he
I
was
was
saying.
comfortable. Or the camera cut out, so I was comfortable saying it off camera. I can't repeat it.
You got
on
it.
the
Well,
record.
okay, well,
you can look it up for
The
yourself.
type of vows he was saying stuff was like, all we're gonna need for a happy marriage is for you to keep my belly full and my balls empty.
That's
Just, like,
so
so
nasty.
gross.
and then he would like laugh to himself like,
Well, and
but
she
no
would,
one else
and
is
then
laughing.
she would be like, and then the mom would be like, Brandon.
Yeah. Also, again, her defense being like, that's his sense of humor. I'm like, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Also,
And then she
if
was like,
that's how
I
you're
thought his
laughing.
vows were really funny, and I wouldn't have wanted them to be any other way.
I was just like, girl,
It's
you know we can see you, right?
girl.
You're in the video, dude.
I mean, she was like,
But it was clearly awkward laughing.
Yeah.
It's like, if that's how you're laughing at all his jokes, then you don't find his jokes funny.
But maybe she does in private, and like her
Yeah.
tepid
Maybe in private,
laughter.
she's like, yeah, your balls empty.
Yeah. She's like,
it's just like the Tati Westbrook soundbite where it's like time and place.
Dude, time and
you're
Time and
talking
place.
about sucking dick and cock.
Yeah.
Time and place.
time and place.
Yeah.
And you
Time and
did it at my birthday dinner.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
That's the Tati James.
Yeah.
Anyway, are we ready to say goodnight to the Young Oldenators? I hope you guys loved this episode. And if you did, be sure to like this video. Subscribe to the
is
channel.
this?
What are you becoming?
Tell all your friends
Who's
about
this?
Young Old.
Who is
And
this
remember
person?
that this podcast is making $2 million per second. And I
And
own
I
100%
own all
of
of
it.
it.
So,
And I stress rashes all over
and
me.
I pooped my
here's
pants
the
because of
pictures
things
of my
that
Here's
you
the
poop
said
pants.
pictures
it.
of my stress
I'm not owed
rash.
$1 million. How come these are pictures of me pooping my pants?
And on that
Checkmate.
note,
Good night, young old. Dana will smush my face
Yes,
into
do
the
the
wedding
cake. It will
cake.
be
And
so
it'll go
My
viral.
grandmother will be confused and horrified.
Yeah.
And I'll say, get off the set, bitch.
Granny, I will say, put the popcorn in the green leaf.
We just do the entire episode again and sing a song.
Okay.
Okay,
Good
bye.
night.